Hey everyone, it is Laura in Louisville, and in this video, we're here to give you the honest truth about living in Louisville, not just the good stuff, but the stuff that you actually want to hear to understand whether or not Louisville might be the place for you. Now, I know you may be thinking this is another hype video about Louisville, but I can assure you it is not. I'm here to kind of give you an insider's perspective from somebody that's not just lived here, but is actually boots on the ground on the daily, seeing it from a buyer and seller's perspective. I think we can all agree that the cost of living is extremely high right now, and I am working with buyers that are actively choosing to move to Louisville from out of state. I work daily with buyers that are making that choice to move to Louisville, many of them remotely. And so I'm giving you insight and perspective, not only from my opinion, but from the opinions of the people that are also moving here. Statistically, Louisville, if you do a search, will show you that we're 8% less expensive than the national level. But what does that mean on a day-to-day basis? I can tell you for certain from the people that I work with, your grocery bills on average are going to be far less expensive than some of the bigger cities. We're talking Nashville, Indianapolis, Atlanta, Chicago, bigger cities here. So your grocery bills, utility bills on average are going to be a little bit less. That includes your water bills. Just transit around the city as a whole. We are a smaller, big city. So getting around, which includes your gas, is going to be a bit less expensive as well, just because you can get anywhere in the city of Louisville in just about 20 minutes. Where some people will spend 20 minutes just to get from their house to the grocery store, I can get from the Highlands to the far end east side of town in 22 minutes. And that's gonna have a huge impact on your overall gas bill. Because Louisville has a strong sense of community, kind of a neighborhood feel to it, supporting local, buying local, you do not see an exponential hike in the prices. For example, we're local folks, we're gonna go to local coffee shops. We don't see a big difference between buying from our coffee shop on the corner and going to Starbucks down the road. In fact, sometimes the Starbucks is more expensive. And so it's easy to shop local, it's easy to support local, and it doesn't hurt your pocketbook. So the next big question people are going to ask, how much does it cost to buy a house here? Now, on paper, you'll see that the median of houses here in Louisville is $265,000. Now that, of course, is much lower compared to the national level. In Louisville, what does that mean? I would say $265,000 is going to buy you a solid starter home, first-time buyer home. You're looking at a 3-bedroom, possibly 1.5, 2-bedroom house. Now, you're not going to live in the Highlands for $265,000. Realistically, for a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath house that's in good condition is going to be a minimum of $450,000, and that probably covers what I would say anything inside of 264, the expressway. If you're staying inside of that 264, you can expect to pay anywhere at minimum probably $300 to $350, and then as you go a little further out, you're going to start to get a little bit more, bang for your buck, if you will. Get a little bit more house for a little bit more size, maybe slightly better condition. Now, when I work with people moving here, I have to sometimes help manage their expectations around that. They're moving to Kentucky, rolling hills, lots of land. And while we do have that, it's not $265,000. So you have to be realistic about that. Of course, it all comes down to location. It's realistic to expect to be able to find a good solid house. I would say between $375 and probably $450 in average around when you're kind of working inside of that 264 expressway. Now, renting is a big factor, of course, for folks out there. Just like everywhere else, rent in Louisville is going up. And one thing to keep in mind is Louisville just doesn't have the multiplexes and rental capacity with, big high-rise rental units that you might see in some larger cities. A lot of those tend to be a lot further out, but inside of 264, you just don't see a lot of that. So you're seeing more rentals with single-family homes than you are in like an apartment complex. On average, for example, in the Highlands, if you were going to rent, 3-bedroom, 2.5, you'd expect to pay anywhere from $2,200 to $2,500 if it's in pretty good shape, maybe even pushing the doors of of, you know, 25, 26, 2,700, depending on where it is. As you move a little further out, you can expect to pay really anywhere for a single family home between $1,700 and $2,100, I would say would be minimum for a decent house. So that is going to, in my mind, should open up your options towards truly looking at comparing renting versus owning, because you are paying a mortgage, you're just paying somebody else's mortgage when you're renting. Now, I do work in the Highlands a lot. That's an area that I live in, focus on, but of course we work all over Louisville. And while you may not be able to get your kind of first time starter home for $265,000 in the Highlands, there are, because of the proximity of where everything is located and the accessibility to other really great neighborhoods, you can still benefit, you know, being close to the Highlands or other areas of town while finding affordable housing in kind of, you know, sub neighborhoods. You've got Hikes Point, you've got the Beachmont over by Iroquois Park, you've got the Linden area. All of those neighborhoods will certainly get your foot in the door for homeownership and still keep you super accessible to all the hot spots in Louisville. So the unemployment rate of about 4.5% is pretty similar to the national average. Now, Louisville is a booming city providing job opportunities for a lot of folks, bigger companies that you may not be aware of. We've got Humana here, big insurance company. UPS has their hub here, which is huge. We've got major universities in close proximity that have certainly provide job opportunities there. We have a booming tourism, bourbon tourism, which certainly provides a lot of opportunity and growth for people. The city is dumping tons of money into that industry. We have an annual event, you know, with the Kentucky Derby that brings lots of opportunities for people in tourism as well, which makes up a big part of the city locally as well as across the state. Now, this is the fun part because I love bragging on Louisville. This is where I might hype it up, but I can assure you I'm not overhyping it. When I'm in the car with people, with clients that are moving here, I'm typically driving them around and we're having conversations. And I spent a good 10 years before I got into real estate recruiting athletes to come to Louisville and their parents. And so it was easy sell for me to tell them all of the great things, because most of the time people don't know what to expect when they come to Louisville. And when I take them around, more oftentimes than not, whatever it was that they were expecting is not typically what they observe. So first we're gonna break down art and music. And for me, as somebody that loves music and loves all different kinds of music, I have access to incredible music venues, incredible shows. We have Bourbon and Beyond, we have Louder Than Life, two very different music types, but huge access for the city. So these music venues pull people from all over the country. In fact, I was just at a conference a couple weeks ago, and everybody that I talked to multiple times I heard is like, oh, I was just in for Bourbon and Beyond. So they are coming from all over the country because they pull in incredible artists, but a wide variety, small to big. We have an incredible orchestra, theater, arts, all of that is super, super accessible and affordable to be able to go and see, which to me is huge. I just came back from New York and to go see Hamilton was like $700. I did not buy the ticket, but I did not buy it because there was no way in heck I was paying $700 to go to a theater. While we know that not everybody thinks of art and music when you think of Louisville, as a local person, that is absolutely what we're singing from the mountaintops from people to say why Louisville, or one of the reasons why Louisville is so great, is because of the incredible music scene, access to really great artists, and venues to where they're playing. So if you hear anything about Louisville, you will hear that we are a foodie town. And as somebody that loves to eat good food and a diversity of good food, I can tell you with 100% certainty that Louisville will make you a food snob. We travel, and whenever we travel, we want to eat at good restaurants, and it is pretty difficult to find restaurants outside of Louisville that compare to the restaurants that I can have here in Louisville. We are talking about Southern comfort food all the way to the best Indian food that you could ever imagine. So for example, I got to give a specific shout out to our favorite go-to restaurant, Ceviche. My husband and I went there maybe 2 nights ago. We sat up at the bar. You can't ever go wrong, but I crave their calamari. And I was in New York with my daughter. We were up there for mother-daughter weekend, and we went to this great little Italian restaurant. Of course, I have to order the calamari. Doesn't even come close. Doesn't even come close. Same thing I can say like my Kashmir Indian food, like their chicken korma. Oh my my gosh, is the most amazing thing. You've got Dragon King's Daughter, authentic, Asian fusion food. You can get this bento box lunch that gives you a little flavoring of everything, and it's affordable, but it tastes so freaking good. Now, I love the outdoors, and again, as I'm driving people around in my car, showing them these different little pockets, it is so easy to highlight the different parks that we have here in the Highlands. We have Cherokee Park, Seneca Park. You go further out east, we have the Parklands. And to me, that is incredible to have access to public, free, green space. So those parks that I'm talking about were designed by Frederick Law Olmsted, which is the same person that designed Central Park in New York City. And everybody loves Central Park, and we get a little taste of that here in Louisville, sprinkled all throughout the city. Not just one great park, but lots of great parks. Nightlife, what does that look like for somebody that lives here? While I don't spend as much time as I may have from a couple years ago in the nightlife, I can tell you that with the strong bourbon industry, strong local brewery industry, we have a variety of, great intimate local bars that people go to. Some of them are little speakeasies that you can drop into, but there is a vibrant scene sprinkled all throughout Louisville as well. Now, unfortunately, we are in the South, so you are going to experience some humidity here in Louisville. What I tell people is about the time you're sick of the season changes on you. So we do get to experience all 4 seasons. We do have a little winter, we do have a beautiful spring, we have a hot, humid summer from about mid-July to mid-August, and then we have an incredible fall. So again, like you get a little taste of all the seasons, but you never really get too sick of them because it changes by the time you are. Now, public transportation, that is one thing we are lacking. Of course, we have public buses and various things, but we do not have any sort of a, subway, underground railroad system or anything like that. So you really do probably have to have a car to truly get around the city. I love the fact personally that I can get to Nashville in 2.5 hours, Chicago in 5 hours in my car. I don't have to fly. We vacation up in Michigan every summer. I can get to Asheville Mountains in about 5.5, 6 hours. The Red River Gorge, which is an incredible park, is only 2.5 hours from me. Indianapolis, 2.5 hours. Cincinnati, 70 minutes, which I can also fly out of Cincinnati if I want an international flight for a lot less expensive and get there in no time. Who is the person that's moving to Louisville? Who is Louisville right for? I would say somebody that is looking for affordability, because I do, and I'm always looking at other places whenever I travel. I'm pulling up the Zillow app and looking at cost of living. So, and one thing I notice is like, oh dang, like I could get that in Louisville for a lot less expensive. So if you're looking for a great house at a reasonable price compared to some of the largest cities, Louisville is great for that. You want to have access to great restaurants, great music, and it's not a lot of work to make that happen. Like I said, you can get anywhere in the city in 15 to 20 minutes. So if you want to live in a small town with a lot of access to things, Louisville is definitely the place for you, because you are not going to sit in traffic at 4:30 for an hour and a half if you left the office 5 minutes late. And I love that about Louisville. Our traffic is about 10 minutes long. If you want to buy your first house and then be able to afford the second house you sell and not have to feel like you have to move across town in order to do that, Louisville is a great place for that as well. It allows for movement and mobility within the city without feeling like you're going to a completely separate part of town in order to allow that to happen. Louisville is definitely a city that can grow with you, where you can find your starter home and then you can find your forever home just 10 to 15 minutes down the road. So if you're able to come in and take a weekend to enjoy, we have great Airbnbs, we have great short-term rentals that you can come and just explore the city. I find that that's really helpful for a lot of people, just to also understand all the little different pockets that Louisville has to offer. Certainly getting with a realtor helps with that, because they can kind of narrow down what you like, what you're interested in, and kind of help you focus on those neighborhoods. So in that breath, if moving to Louisville is something that you're curious about, you want to talk talk with a local agent, local professional, certainly reach out. We would love to be able to help. So thanks so much for watching. We would love to be able to help you. You can help us by liking and subscribing our channel. I look forward to seeing you around town, and please don't hesitate to reach out.